Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Just to tell people what's going on, our engineer, our board, one of the producers who runs the board, the computer's out, so he has no headphones on. So he's doing this all from just natural feeling.
Everything's a little off this morning, but
yeah,
you know
everything's
what?
a little off.
That's the beauty of live radio.
There you go.
The beauty of live anything, you know?
Well, Lunella's here. She's our guest host, and let's get in some front page news. Tesla and Figaro, good morning.
Good morning, Breakfast Club family. Good morning, Queen Lunell in the building. Good morning,
darling.
All right, well, let's get in some front page news. Let's start off with the Nashville shooter. Any updates?
Yeah, a lot of updates, and I'm so glad you guys said that about the beauty of live radio. I want to give a few updates and also make a correction on yesterday. Now, guys, when we are bringing breaking news, depending on my time zone, I may be in this little box, at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So a lot of times the reports, particularly in breaking news, they change a lot. So I do want to make a correction. Yesterday on the air, I talked about the shooter coming through the side door because at that time, the night before, that's what we knew, the side door. After I got off the air, that is when the videos came out and showed that she actually shot through the door. So I do want to make that correction, guys. And as long as I'm hanging out with you, I have no problem making a correction on air. But I do ask for grace, as we try to continue to cover, these live, these live events, because they do change. Remember, at one point they said she was a teenager. Then we found out she was 28. Correct. They changed the gender 2 or 3 or 4 times. So, just give us a little break. I'm not a politician, nor do I work for one. So I am not trying to mislead you.
So, Tess, when you said she came through the side door, like the door wasn't open, she shot through the door. Shot the lock off, basically.
Yeah, she shot through the door. Okay. But the night before, they just showed her going through the wood door, the wood door, showing her walking in. And so all of the reports kept saying she came through the side door, So when we were talking about, doors being unlocked in our discussion, that was a little bit confused. But I do want to point, though, that a lot of times with these school shootings, they do come through unlocked doors like they did in Texas last year. So it is a thing, but not, exactly with this particular case.
Gotcha.
So let's listen to the report to hear what else we found out, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Interviewed the parents of Audrey Hale, and we've determined that Audrey bought 7 firearms from 5 different local gun stores here legally. They were legally purchased. 3 of those weapons were used yesterday during this horrific tragedy that happened.
You received a message through social media from the shooter. Saying what?
She said, so basically that post I made on here about you, that was basically a suicide note. I'm planning to die today. This is not a joke. You'll probably hear about me on the news after I die. This is the last goodbye. I love you. See you again in another life, Audrey. And then it's more to be.
And that message came to you at 9:57 in the morning. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you told your dad just a few minutes later.
I screenshotted it to him.
And then you called the suicide prevention hotline.
Yes.
And you're taking all these actions.
Yeah, I was just doing what I was told on the phone.
Why, I don't understand why people like that just don't kill themselves. Yeah. Like if you don't want to be here anymore, why do you have to go take a bunch of innocent lives with you? If you don't want to be here anymore, that's a personal decision. Why go kill a bunch of innocent kids because you don't want to be here no more? Why project that hurt and that pain on other people?
That is the question.
Yeah, well, apparently she was suffering from an emotional disorder. So we know that there was certainly some mental issues there. And, again, shout out to the young lady who did go through the steps. Yesterday, Envy, we talked about how, the importance of following protocol. And that young lady, although she was not able to prevent it, she did do her due diligence. We say a lot, when you see something, say something. So she did, do her due diligence on that. Now, President Biden called for Congress to enact an assault weapons ban in the wake of Monday's shooting. He admitted Tuesday that he was exhausted of all executive options while pleading, also known as begging, Congress. Now, meanwhile, Republican Tim Burchett says that he doesn't see a role for Congress in preventing tragedies other than messing up things. So let's listen to what he had to say.
3 precious little kids lost their lives, and I believe 3 adults, I believe it's, and the shooter, of course, lost their life too. So it's a horrible, horrible situation, and we're not going to fix it. criminals are going to be criminals, and my daddy fought in the Second World War, fought in the Pacific, fought the Japanese, and he told me, he said, buddy, he said, if somebody wants to take you out and doesn't mind losing their life, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do about it.
Damn, that's crazy. I mean, so bottom line, he said he's not going to do anything about it. That's it. That's all.
Once again, those senators will refuse to support common sense gun reform because the NRA is in their pockets.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
And that individual yesterday had 7 guns. Purchased 7 legal guns.
And used 5 of them.
Used 5 of them.
And clearly was going through some mental and emotional trauma.
And they knew.
Clearly was going through some mental and emotional trauma.
And I'm not sure he, she, the pronouns, but
it don't matter.
The person texted somebody beforehand, I'm a die today.
Right, and you'll probably see it on the news.
Like they had some signs, you know?
That's what I'm saying. That person had mental and emotional trauma, so where was the background check on that person's mental and emotional well-being before they purchased those guns?
And then there's a sick little star factor. Like I just said, you'll probably see me on the news, when I die and all that, and they want to go out in this big blaze of glory. There's that factor as well.
Yep.
All right.
And as and just before we close up, I know everybody have seen the footage online as well. And again, we're often hard on police officers. I know that I am, but I do commend how they responded.
Oh yeah,
they did the damn thing.
They didn't wait for backup. They didn't wait for armor gear. They came in there like we
started blasting.
About time.
Like one of them, like
they did the damn thing.
Absolutely, like they went in there like one of their kids was in that school. They wasn't playing. And I commend those officers.
So just a point. That response prevented, because again, in Texas last year, 19 children were killed and 2 adults because they took so long to go in that building. Right. So we definitely want to show them some love as well.
And it's very important to note that it was guns that took that young lady out. Or a young man. I don't know what the hell. I don't know. I really don't. But I'm just saying, that's a prime example of when guns are used for good.
Right.
Yep. And we have more on this, Envy and Charlamagne, and we can talk about it in the next hour, but there's more details. So hopefully everybody will stay tapped in with us to hear more.
All right. Get it off your chest. Thank you, Ted. See you in an hour. 800-585-1051. Get it off your chest. Call us up right now if there's something bothering you or maybe you want to spread some positivity. Call us now. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. All right. Let's get back in front page news. You got some more updates?
Yeah, we got some more updates on the Tennessee mass shooting, and I want to say this quickly for those who missed it in the last hour. On yesterday, when I reported that the shooter came through the side door, I just want everybody to keep in mind as we're reporting breaking news, that was what we had the night before. When I left the studio yesterday, the videos came out that showed that she actually shot through the front door. So I just want people to be mindful of that as, we're bringing the news. We're in the studio at 3 or 4 in the morning, so things do change, and I'm doing my best to try to keep up with it. I ask for your grace as we continue to grow. And as you can see, they've changed a lot in this story. 1 minute they said she was a teenager, and then we found out that she was 28 years old. So I certainly do not want to mislead anybody. I'm not a politician, nor do I work for one. So let's just continue to try to stay on top of this story and do my best.
That's not your fault, though, Ted. The internet identified the front door as the side door. But they got it right now.
Man, shut up.
What? They got it right now.
Yeah, it did. The internet did identify the front door as a side door, but we want to make sure that the family knows that we're doing. At least I'm doing my best to try to be as accurate as possible. But let's listen to the report and see what we know so far.
Interviewed the parents of Audrey Hale, and we've determined that Audrey bought 7 firearms from 5 different local gun stores here legally. They were legally purchased. 3 of those weapons were used yesterday during this horrific tragedy that happened.
Now, President Biden called for Congress to enact an assault weapons ban in the wake of Monday's shooting. He admitted Tuesday that he has exhausted all executive options while pleading, also known as begging, with Congress. Meanwhile, Republican Tim Burchett says he doesn't see a role for Congress in preventing tragedies other than messing things up. Let's listen to what he had to say.
3 precious little kids lost their lives, and I believe 3 adults, I believe it's. And the shooter, of course, lost their life too. So it's a horrible, horrible situation. And we're not going to fix it. Criminals are going to be criminals. And my daddy fought in the Second World War, fought in the Pacific, fought the Japanese. And he told me, he said, buddy, he said, if somebody wants to take you out and doesn't mind losing their life, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do about it.
That right there proves exactly what I said yesterday. Mass shootings are the American way. We have accepted mass shootings as part of our culture. It's just one of those casualties that I guess we're going to have to deal with every now and then because this government cannot properly fix a problem.
Now, is it true that the AR-15s were banned until like 2004? And then right after it came off ban, the shootings started like more and more and more? Is that factual?
Don't quote me on that because I want to be accurate with that, but I will certainly have that answer for you tomorrow.
Okay.
That's my understanding as well, but I don't want to put misinformation out there, but I will look that up for you and get back with you on that. Absolutely.
And why doesn't President Biden just call it like it is and say, look, man, some of these senators are never going to agree with common sense gun reform because they benefit too much from NRA money? You know what I mean?
Well,
why he doesn't call them out? Because you can see that the NRA has spent a lot of money to benefit a lot of these political campaigns. You can literally, there's a website you can go look online and see how much the NRA has spent to specific campaigns, and it's directly tied to these senators who oppose common sense gun reform. Call them out.
Right. He probably scared somebody gonna shoot him.
You might be right.
He did say in one of his statements yesterday, though, that he wants you to see who's stopping it. But you're right, Charlamagne. President Biden's style is not necessarily, with naming the names, which I think that you should. So it's just not his style. I guess, it's just not his style. I don't really have an answer because, I like calling it for what it is, naming names.
Well,
Yeah, but he is saying, that he's done all that he can. Now, many of you saw the body cam footage that was released on yesterday. We certainly want to give a shout out to those officers for doing the damn thing, doing exactly what they should have done. We look at that, we compare what happened at Robb Elementary last year in Texas, where 19 children were killed and 2 adults. So definitely a shout out to those officers for responding quickly and making sure that they were able to preserve lives, although that we did lose lives as well, but they did certainly do a good job with their response.
Well, since the government just throwing their hands up, let the teachers carry guns. Because clearly people have to protect themselves. If you're a licensed gun owner and you have your gun at home, you carry your gun in your car, and you're a teacher and you feel safer bringing your gun to school, you should allow the teachers to be able to do that. Because clearly our government has no bright ideas.
Right.
Yeah. Let's unpack that a minute because yesterday there was a lot of comments, to your response on that, and I want to be clear. When we proposed that as an idea yesterday, you were very clear in saying have armed guards at the door, in addition to teachers who want that option. So guys, listen to both sides, listen to both sides of the argument. It's not one or the other. It is what Charlamagne was saying, and what I was also saying was to have 2 options. We are certainly not suggesting that teachers now become security guards. We're certainly not suggesting that it is their job. We understand that they're underpaid, overworked, and they should not have to be a security guard. But what we're saying is that for those who want to feel safer, like my sister who's been a teacher for 25 years, or me when I go substitute teach, that should be an option. We are well aware that students can take the gun and bad things can happen. Right. We're well aware that DJ Envy pointed out that they need to be trained so that they don't harm other kids while they're trying to shoot at one. So I want people to really understand this is a complex thing that we have to unpack. There's not just one solution. There are many solutions. And so if you believe that you have a good idea, I suggest go to your local elected official who you pay and tell them your ideas. And maybe we can get together and try to figure this out. So it's more than one thing, and 2 things can be true at the same time.
At least we're presenting solutions. Our government just said it's above us now. That's what President Biden said. They said it's above us now.
All right.
Right. That's exactly it.
Well, thank you, Teslin Figaro, for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. And just to let everybody know, I'm going to unpack more of this week on the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast on the Black Effect Podcast Network. There are a lot of updates. We don't have a lot of time, during this segment, but please definitely tap in so I can give you some more news on this tragedy.
All right. Well, thank you, Teslin Figaro. We appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wake that ass up
early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.